So I'll
You're not in it, don't worry.
turn it over to you. Ms. Moore.
So, like you said, I am studying at Auburn University. Communications is my major, so I'm getting ready to graduate in December. And to be able to do that, I have to do a senior project, just like we do in high school. But, okay, so for this project, I have to make it comprehensive. So I have to figure out an idea and then make it something that hasn't really been done before and something that can be applicable to the future, your guys' future, I guess. So, to begin, we are going to do a bit of an exercise, not the physical kind, but the artistic kind. So, I gave you a piece of paper, and if you would, I'm going to ask each of you to draw a rodent-sized elephant with a golden retriever's head. I'm not kidding, please just try.
Okay, go for it.
You have a short amount of time to do it, doesn't have to be perfect.
I'm sure that she's got one. He needs paper.
Does anybody have a stack of papers that can help?
Any extra papers out there?
Use them all? I have almost the right number.
I got these. He's got his own.
A few more moments. All right. Would anyone like to share? We don't have to. No one's proud of their creation.
Bam.
Very nice.
Everyone else is
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So as you look around at your classmates and your neighbors, what is something that you notice about these creations?
They're all different.
Exactly. They're all different, but I specifically told you to draw a rodent-sized elephant with a golden retriever's head. So why are they all different?
Because we all have different ideas of what we think.
Exactly. Listening is a process. It's not something that just happens. It's not like, okay, so listening and hearing are both different things. Hearing is the physiological ability to take sound in with your ears. But listening is a process that goes through a lot of different layers in your brains to kind of like create the image that you get in your head. So when I say rodent-sized elephant with golden retriever's head, your idea is different than her idea. And so that's how it is for a lot of things. Okay. So I play this video for you. So the whole premise of my project is to teach people how to listen again. It's something that we're not very good at anymore. And it's it's something that's really important for the rest of your life. So, does anybody know why we're not super great at it? Any ideas?
We're too busy with noses, very big nose.
It's, yeah, distraction, it's fun.
They're the wind barriers between you and something else. No matter the screen, books, other people. Just
Yeah. Anyone else? Any ideas? I think you guys hit the nail on the head. We live in a very distracting society, and it's not only just this generation, but it's just like it's everybody's. I think the thing that's hardest is what you guys said. The technology that we have is just so accessible. We don't really know how to connect so much anymore. So to illustrate this, I'm gonna have everybody close your eyes, and I want you to focus solely on breathing. Just a few breaths, okay? So only think about breathing, nothing else. Okay, you can stop. How many of you made it without thinking of anything else?
oh, think
Wow,
something
okay,
else.
good. Well, so mindfulness, that was the exercise in mindfulness. It's impossible, not impossible. Mindfulness, like listening, is a practice. So it's something that, let's see, when you meditate, it's something that they really emphasize. It's just having these thoughts and letting them go. So anyway, the purpose of that was just to show you how our brains jump around. There is a, so there's a thing in our brain called the subthalamic nucleus. And it's basically what it is you know when you open a door and there's somebody sitting on the other side of the door, and you like do that weird freeze thing, and like drop everything and just like, and do that. I sometimes do the awkward dance, but mostly just freeze. So that is controlled by the subthalamic nucleus. And studies have shown that it's not just your body that does the automatic stop. Anytime that you receive some sort of like extra input from anything else, your brain will automatically stop what it's doing and focus on the new thing. So when you get a notification on your phone and you check it, your body, your mind lets go of everything that you were thinking of and focuses only on the phone, which is why like when you're doing homework or something, your phone goes off, you're just like, and then even if you like make yourself go back to what you're doing, you don't really get back into what you're doing. It takes about a minute or so to do that. And that's also a lot of the reason that people are so like full of anxiety these days. They always have something running in the back of their mind, which is usually their phone, but that is a discussion for another time. So, how many times do you think, or what is the average amount of time that you think people check their phones?
Once or twice.
Per day.
Per
That's a
day,
lot.
several hundred.
Okay, the average was 80, but that is also calculating in, you know, the older people who don't really use their technology. But 80 is still a lot. That's significant. So part of listening is being able to center yourself, to engage with the person. You have to be able to really be present. You can't be thinking about the future or the past. You have to be with them. There are other ways to get better at listening. So we are going to look at these pictures, and I want you to tell me who is having a good time connecting and who is not. Okay?
Neither of them look too embarrassed.
That's
Rumor.
okay.
Yep. No.
No, from him.
All right. So how did you know that?
Sleep in our phone.
Their body language. He
Body
looks,
language, yeah.
yeah, he looks pretty.
So what are some of the? So in this one, what are some of the body language?
Probably cross arms watching, closing something. They're facing each other, they're most
Being more engaged.
He looks nice.
It's like,
It looks
oh,
like
baby.
something important was
She's
going
pretty
on.
good about something.
Just definitely.
She got it.
She's probably like, wait, I have to take a picture.
Instagram, it's already. Okay, so Mr. Carey's probably taught you guys listening skills, has he? Not? He wants to tell me what they are.
Face forward, seem engaged, point your shoulders back or speaking.
Yeah,
Eye contact.
right, exactly. So you're supposed to orient yourself towards what you're focusing on. So just whatever way, that's where you swivel in your chair when he's talking to you. You're supposed to nod, be engaging, but not like over, like you're just with them, responding. Eyes, eye contact. It's not boring into their soul, it's showing that you're paying attention to this. This lady is not doing a very good job of eye contact, and he's like, come on. So, a lot of times though, if you don't have the mindfulness with the body language, then you can be kind of just like nodding along, like, Have you guys, it's kind of like when your mom's talking to your dad and she's telling him all these things, he's like, that's nice, okay. And she's like, yeah, I watched the clothes today, I fed the kids. Oh, by the way, I'm taking a trip to Mars. And he's like, that's nice, honey. And she's just like, okay, you're definitely listening, all right. So that's kind of what, so you have to have both the mindfulness and the engagement with your body language, or else the other person doesn't really feel very valued. So in case you guys have never had the wonderful experience of people ignoring you while you spoke, we're going to experience that today. So if everybody could get a partner, the people next to you, preferably, and if there's, yeah.
Charlie's alone.
You can do it for free. Yeah. You can do it for free if you need to.
Yeah, we have an odd number.
Yeah. Okay, so I need one person to be the listener, non-listener, and the other person to be the speaker. So the speaker is going to tell the listener about their favorite place in the world. They're going to describe it in vivid detail, and they're just going to tell you everything about it. And the listeners are going to be the typical teenage listener, and they're going to not be engaged at all. They're going to be just doing everything they can to just not look. Don't be rude and dramatic about it. Be rude about it, but not like overly dramatic. Just kind of like you would be if you were listening to somebody tell you something you really don't care about. Just don't do that. Okay. Yes.
Real favorite place or just like a pickup?
Real favorite place. Real favorite place. Okay.
Here we go.
All right.
It was on a creek in Lane, and I don't remember the third one because he didn't get that far, he gave up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Something about a pretzel.
No way.
Yeah.
Shows
You just
how
said
much you paid attention.
Okay, so do you guys find it harder to retain the information when you were not listening to what they were saying?
Yeah.
Okay, now the speakers, was it difficult to keep going while these people were not paying attention?
Yeah.
Nobody else this week.
Well, you might be used to it. So the point of that is to show that when you're not engaging with them with your body language, then you can't really engage with them with your mind. It's not really something that goes well. So we have mindfulness and we have body language. And now we're going to talk about active listening, which is kind of just the umbrella term of a good listener. So a good listener is an active listener. And that means that they're engaged with the body language and mindfulness, but they're also responding. Responding is the part where you're nodding and smiling. But it's not just the rote, like nodding and smiling like we were talking about with your parents. It's the nodding, the showing that you understand that you're engaged. So it's body language too, but like also responding is asking questions. And it's also making those noises of sympathy. Or it's also when you're in a congregation and people start shouting, hallelujah! Like that's also responding, but usually not in conversation. So a good way to monitor whether you are, I guess, whether you're giving the right amount of input or whether you're providing the right reaction to what they're doing is to use the 80-20 method. And so that means when you're listening to somebody talk, they get to do 80% of the talking and you do 20% of the responding. So when they're talking, they get to fill up 80% of the space, but your 20% is you responding and you further in the conversation, whether it be asking them questions about what they're saying or just like, oh, that's cool, what? That kind of stuff. That is very important when you are talking to someone who has a different opinion than you. That's where it gets complicated, right? Because you tend to just want to disengage. You're like either you want to argue with them or you want to fight them, like you want to argue with them or you want to just shut down and not listen anymore. So when you're practicing the listening, whether they have a different opinion than you or not, if you're responding, if you're being mindful, if you're using your body language, you're going to hear why they think what they think, and then when it's your turn to prove them wrong, you'll have even better material, right? So, that wasn't true. Okay, so when somebody has a different opinion than you, it really helps to just kind of take yourself out of your mindset and to put yourself in their shoes and seeing them more as a person and not a broad general category of this human that has obviously no idea what they're talking about, but seeing them as a person who you can relate to, I guess, or you can understand where they're coming from, and that all comes from listening. Okay, so why am I telling you this? What is the point? Listening is an incredibly important part of this life, not only to build relationships, but also when you're doing school, when you're getting a job, anytime that you're trying to engage with the world, you have to listen. That's our way to kind of just, I guess, it's our way to interact with the world. If we're not listening, then we're not responding, and if we're not responding, then are we really living? So it's kind of an important part of existence. So because there's so much that goes into listening, it's not something that just comes overnight. It's something that you have to practice. It's something that you have to care about and want to do. But if you take the time to really listen to somebody, you are giving them like the greatest gift that you can give another person. If you show them that you care by responding to what they're saying, by being present with them, you're not only helping yourself by growing relationships and becoming a more empathetic individual, you're also helping them. You're helping show them that they do matter and that they do count. And I think that's something that has not gone away, but it's become more difficult with all the distraction. So if you want to practice, there are lots of ways to do that. First thing you can do is listen to people when they talk to you. I just think it's a lot easier to create relationships when you are listening and when you are caring about the other person. There are a lot of movements that are going on with this, but what actually inspired this concept was this thing called urban confessionals. With this guy, he started it. It's all over the world. They have people who get into these groups and they write free listening on a cardboard and they go stand in cities and they just stand there and wait for people to come up to them and say, "What are you doing?" And then when they do that, they'll kind of tell them a little bit about it and then they'll ask how they're doing. They'll ask about their day. And some people might get weirded out by that, but they walk away from the conversation feeling like they've been valued, feeling like they've been heard. And sometimes that's the best community service that you can provide, is just making people feel like they're heard. So Urban Confessional is something I actually tried to get going on our campus. It didn't end out right because it was supposed to do it last weekend, but it was like negative degrees this past weekend, so that was a no-go. But I think it's just a really cool idea to be able to show people that their opinions do matter. We also do kind of like a listening project, but it's, we go to my college group and I go to Vintage Park once a month. And there we do craft with the elderly, the residents there, but we also listen to them. And that's the main reason for going, because I think that a lot of times they sort of feel forgotten by society or maybe not super valued. But when we can go there and listen to what they have to say, like their stories are incredible. And I'm telling you, if you ever need a boost in self-confidence, go there. Like literally the ladies just slather you with compliments and it's just like, "You're so sweet, why are you so nice to me?" So we actually are going this Thursday, and it's open to everyone. And so I have a sign-up sheet. If you're interested, put down your name, put down your email. I'll be here for basketball. It's at 6:30, and 6:30 to 7:30. I'll be here for basketball, and so I can take you if you want. If you can't go this week but are interested in going, we do it every month. So if you put down your email, then I can let you know what's happening and when it's happening. It's just it's a really good way to give back to your community. And if you don't really want to go anywhere, but you want to practice and you like these ideas, you could try free listening at your lunchtime. Can you imagine writing on a cardboard sign free listening, and what people would do? They would be like, what are you doing? Like, what? They come up to you, they ask you, and you start to talk to them and engage with them, and maybe, just maybe, they'll feel heard, because in the end, we all just want to be heard. And that is the end of my presentation. You guys, I'm going to pass this around if you want to put your name right very small. But yeah,
Are you taking questions?
I am taking questions. Does anybody have any questions?
What inspired you to want to do this?
Well, so communication student means that you have to take a lot of classes where you learn about how to talk to people. So I actually took a whole class on interpersonal, which is mostly body language. I just got done with a listening class, which is mostly what inspired that, because I think it's really fascinating. There's like a whole model, like a hurry, I don't know. Like it's really nerdy. But so I was looking for something to do, and I was actually on the pathway to make videos. That was like the main portion of my senior project. But instead, like I was gonna make a video for the campus or something. But then I found out about free listening because I was getting ready to do a promotional thing for my other job. I don't know. It all kind of just merged together. I found out about urban confessional. I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. And I think it's something in high school I didn't really feel like I had the opportunity to feel like people were actually hearing my ideas or hearing what I have to say, and I still don't feel like that. But I think that by spreading the word and by like teaching people, some people just, you just don't know that you're doing it wrong, and you're just like, well, why does anybody want to talk to me? Well, maybe because you're not listening to them. So I chose to present to you guys because the urban confessional movement is a lot, like just focused mostly on like college age people, but it didn't really seem like anybody was kind of getting the word out to high school. So, and I have good connections here, so that's what.
Any other questions for Ms. Meyer?
Oh, I do. Do you still remember Mr. Carey's intros and outros? For presentations?
Oh my gosh. Hi, my name is Sydney Meyer.
Really boring, isn't it?
I know, I can't remember exactly what it is.
Good afternoon.
Good
Question.
afternoon, good morning.
Yeah, the question is, can he remember?
Oh, yeah. Can you remember?
I just did it.
She's listening to you.
She's listening to me. Good afternoon, my name is Peyton Williams. I'm here to talk to you about blah, blah, blah. Or,
Okay.
good morning, my name is Peyton Williams. I'm here to talk to you about such and such.
Kind of closer.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Are there any questions? Or thank you for listening to my presentation over blah, 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 or such and such. Are there any questions?
Yeah. Okay, this class, I can't even tell you, like, this is the summation of all the classes that I took my first 2 years of college. Like, we learned all about the emails, all about the text messages, all about the being professional and conversations on the phone. Pay attention, folks. I'm serious. I'm not even just saying that. But, are there any more questions?
Let's thank her one more time, please. And you're still helping with basketball. So you'll see her around here after school. She's
Dang it.
basketball.
What? I know, I won't be here. I gotta go grab
Okay, I
this.
have these emails, if you pass them out, and then I can come grab them.
Yes.
I don't know, I'll be here in my basketball meeting, so.
I still do it. So I will watch them. Thank you.
Okay, you still need your writing utensil.
Thank you.
Ms. Meyer would like you to assess and evaluate your presentation, which means you should be listening to me.